Welcome back to the podcast, friends. Today's guest is somebody who wears a lot of hats, and she wears them all well. So Sydney Miller is a non-pro. She's a business owner, a mom of littles, and alongside her husband, they recently moved their training operation, Miller Quarter Horses, to Boerne, Texas. So on top of all that, her hobby is showing halter horses, where she's just come off a successful futurity season. That's where we come in, friends, hearing about her halter journey. So we'll talk about what draws her to halter, her perspective on the performance side of the industry, and how she finds balance in the middle of all that. Sydney, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thank you so much.
You bet. So we're just going to jump right in and hear about your background. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey in the horse industry and then what led you to building a horse business?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess my husband and I met. I was super young. We both were. He was working for a horse trainer at the time. I was still in the youth, so it was a long time ago. And we've been together ever since. When he decided to go out on his own, we just kind of teamed up together, and I've never had any desire to ever want to be a horse trainer, but I really enjoy the business side of it. So I think it's kind of a good mix where he is able to really focus on his horses, and I'm able to do all the other things that come along with running a training business and running a business of any sort. So we originally started in Pennsylvania. That's where we both grew up. And then we moved to North Carolina about 15 years ago. We were there for about 16 years ago. We were there for about 15 years. And then we just sold our farm there last year and moved to Boerne, Texas after the World Show last year. So almost a year now we've been down there.
Awesome. Very cool. So then tell us a little bit about what inspired you to move to Texas and how that transition has been for you and your family, and then even your business as well.
Yeah, so it's been a great move for us. And I think it was a little bit unconventional. The theory is always for everybody to own a farm. And I'm super thankful that we did, and it put us into a really good place financially. But we were really at a point where it made a lot of sense to sell. And also having young kids, owning a farm and having all the tasks that come along with that is a lot. Our kids are young still. Our son is 6. He's going to be 7 later this month, and our daughter is 9. So it's nice right now, they're super involved with so many things. So when we realized financially what a good position that would be to sell the farm, as well as also for a little bit more balance for our personal life and making sure that we don't miss anything for the kids at this point, like, they're only young ones. So just the thought that we could maybe a little bit more like show up to work in the morning, focus just on the horses, and go home at night and really be able to focus on our family. Because no matter what, like, this industry takes us on the road a lot. So now when we're home, I just feel like we have so much balance. We're able to go to every practice. We're able to go to every school function. And yet during the day, like, the horses, nothing's more important than them. So like, it just feels like a really good balance, and it's really worked well for us.
Yeah. Speaking of traveling, you're currently at the Congress.
We are.
Thanks for taking the time.
This is our home for the next couple of weeks.
Yes. As we were chatting beforehand, before we hit record, you probably have great acoustics in the horse trailer. There's just a lot of close space, a lot of padding.
There is a lot. By the end of this, we'll all be ready to have a little more space.
I bet. Well, thank you for taking the time in the midst of a really busy season.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned quite a bit about the balance, balancing being a mom, being a business owner, not just a mom, but having your family and really working hard to establish time. Is there anything else that you've learned or through this transition that has helped you bring all of those pieces together?
I think it's just, an overall like learning curve, right? Like, so you have kids and you think what what's going to come down the line, but you kind of don't. And as they continue to grow and, family kind of changes a little bit, I think it's just important that we try to align with that and grow with it so that
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
it can't ever be the same, right? So like, when they're babies, you think, oh my gosh, this is so hard. You've got this baby, and then all of a sudden they're in school, and it's a whole different set of like hard.
Hmm.
So I think just trying to stay like relevant with that so that you know how to balance it. And believe me, I mean, we're all making mistakes every day. Don't get me wrong, but
Sure.
I think it just we're making mistakes, but it's not for a lack of try. Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
so
for
just
sure.
really trying to, at the end of the day, do everything you can to put your family first, keep your business in the best position that it can be, um,
Hmm.
and to do it all and be happy too.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start learning a little bit about your hunt seat, the hunt seat side of your business. We're anxiously awaiting the halter hobby, but talk a little bit to us about some of the core philosophies behind your husband's training program.
Yeah, so I think that again, it's just something that continues to like morph over time, just the same as
Hmm.
the balance on like a family side too. Um, he's really worked his way from the bottom up,
Hmm.
and he's been very successful. And um, I mean, I couldn't be any more proud of how far he's come and everything that we've been able to accomplish. And I think if you had asked, 20 years ago if that would have ever been, like we both would have been like, absolutely not. But, I think if you work hard and you keep yourself focused, and you get rid of all the other noise, I think you can do a lot. And I
Hmm.
think that he's a good example of that. So I
Yeah.
think like as far as his training program, um, it's probably, it's probably a little bit more unique. Our philosophy on how we care for the horses is a little bit different than I would say like a lot of people in the stock horse industry on the performance horses are.
Hmm.
We really like take the approach that we treat them all like athletes, like you would for any professional athlete, as far as
Hmm.
the way that the therapies that we do, the things that we do on the front side so that we hopefully end up with less injuries on the backside and truly treat them like the athletes that they are. I mean, these are big, 17 hand hunt seat horses, and we ask them to do a lot, and we
Hmm.
ask for it often. There really aren't any weekend shows anymore. So when they go out, they've got to perform at a high level. And I think that Keith is just really good at enhancing like a horse's strong points and
Hmm.
trying to overlook, because not all great, right? And they all have
Hmm.
weaker points. And I think that just probably comes from growing up with not access to great horses, that you
Uh-huh.
focus on the good things and hopefully
Yeah.
people don't notice the bad things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And bringing out the best in each individual.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's great. So, how is the hunt seat community in Texas different than it was in North Carolina?
I don't really think that it's any different,
Okay.
simply because we still go to literally
Mm,
all of the same horse shows. So it's all of the same people. Um, we're really fortunate with a great group of clients. I think since we've moved, maybe two people have even come to see us. So like we're
yeah,
fortunate that it doesn't really make much of a difference geographically where we're at. We have a great group
yeah,
of clients that trust us.
yeah,
And they're happy that their horses are taken care of, and hopefully they do well. So yeah,
yeah.
that there really hasn't been any market difference, since
Okay,
we moved in that way, which is kind of
sure.
interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe a little bit of a relief after you've made all the other changes to transition yourself and your family and your business
Right,
to
right.
Texas.
Yeah. That part
Yeah,
was kind of easy. Everybody was really good with the move. So
that's awesome. um, okay, so I'm excited to hear about your hobby of halter horses, which feels like polar opposites, right?
you know
Big
what?
hunt
It
seat
kind of
versus big
is.
halter horses.
Yeah. It kind of total opposites, but yet there's so many similarities too. So
Sure,
it's
sure.
familiar, but it's really different. And I think that that's really enjoyable.
Yeah. So tell us what first drew you to the halter horses.
For some reason, I've just kind of always enjoyed them.
Huh?
And uh, I've dabbled in it over the last 15 years on and off. So, it was funny a couple years ago here at the Congress. I think it was 2 years ago, maybe. Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago here. Um, we're stalled where we always are. And John Shepherd ended up stalled next to us. And, we come from the East Coast. So we've known John, in passing for a long time, like always
Hmm.
friendly. But
Uh-huh.
and I remember one day I was randomly sitting at the back of my stalls. Sometimes I get like a little peopled out. So the front of our stalls, all the clients are down there, everybody's down there. So
Yeah.
sometimes I have to go to
Yeah.
like the back side of the stalls to,
Yeah.
and we had a
Yeah.
TV set up there. So I was keeping an eye on what classes were going on. And John would, walk by or whatever. And the one day I was like, you know what, John, I think I would like a halter horse because he had the big Solaire horse.
Uh-huh.
And I've always loved that horse. To me, like
Hmm.
he's beautiful. He's everything that we should want them to be. Um, and he's kind of like my ideal. So the one day I was like, you know what, John, I think he kind of looked at me like, what are you
What?
talking about, Sydney? And I was like, yeah, like, what, I think I'd really like to do Iowa. So like if you were to come across something, like keep me in mind. And he he kind of was like, oh yeah, nice to talk to you, Sydney. Um, so that was in October. And then I guess it was February. We had our daughter, she rides with Arturo Mastis in Pilot Point. We actually had her there riding one weekend, and John calls me out of the blue and is like, hey, are you still like, would you still like something? I was like, yeah, like I still would love to do that. And he was like, well, I heard of one, but it's in Pilot Point and I don't know when I can get there. And I was like, well, at this point we still lived in North Carolina. I was like, randomly, like we're in Pilot Point this weekend, like we're here right now. He was like, you're kidding. So he set up, it was over at Jason Smith's. And so it was only like 15 minutes from us. So we went over, I think the next morning, looked at them, sent John some videos of them, and we ended up buying that one. So that's kind of like a weird way that it all started, but it's been super
Uh-huh.
fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us about your baby from this year.
Yeah. So John and I had gone when I was, he was in Texas for something, and my daughter was again up riding for the weekend, and him and I went and looked at, I swear it was 7,400 horses. Um, and you guys that do just the halter is probably like much more normal for. I was like, John, if I see another baby, like I
Uh-huh.
can't do it. Like there
Yeah.
were so many.
Done.
Um, and so we looked at a bunch. We looked at so many nice horses there in Pilot Point,
Hmm.
that whole area. And just nothing quite worked out, not exactly what we were looking for.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm not exactly sure how we ended up seeing this one up at Eric Pilgrim's
Uh-huh.
in Minnesota. So I loved him when I saw him. He loved him, and we. It took a little while. Like it was hard to get up there and to get it all done,
Hmm.
but he ended up flying up, looking at him, really liking him, and he was like, it's a late baby. I can't guarantee that it's going to be ready. And I was like, well,
Hmm.
that's horses for us, right? So like,
Right.
let's give it a shot. So he was game. Eric was really good. He let us take the mare because, John was like, if there's any chance that we're going to get it ready for Iowa, kind of need to get it back here at this point because that was June. Um,
Hmm.
but it wasn't weaned yet. So Eric was really great. He let us take the mare and the baby. John took it to his place. He's in Delaware, so
Hmm.
take it all the way over there. And he was able to start, working on the baby when it's still on the mare.
Yeah.
And once it got weaned, we shipped the mare back to Eric. But Eric was great. Um, and it's just a really, really nice colt. I hadn't seen him till I got to Iowa. Um, I mean, John would send me pictures and little videos and
Sure.
stuff,
Sure.
but I was super impressed with them as soon as I got there. And you know, I just love John's program, especially
Hmm.
for a baby. I just think he does a
Hmm.
great job. He doesn't take a ton of horses, which I think when you guys do the halter is so
Hmm.
important too, because the amount of time and getting to know them,
Yeah.
and they're such finicky little things. Like I find it funny
Yep.
coming from the performance side because they're just so different.
Yeah.
But John had him, he looked great in Iowa, and he stayed good and healthy and
Hmm.
got through the Halter Million. So yeah, it was a it was really fun, and it's a really nice colt, and I'm just super thankful that we were able to get him bought and have such a good futurity season with him.
Yeah. And what's his name?
So we call him Herf, like Hereford cow. So when my
Nice.
husband saw the pictures, he was like, he was hairy and he had a big white face, and he was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God, it looks like you bought a Hereford cow." So the name Herf has just stuck. So
Uh-huh.
that's what we call him. But
I
his show
love it.
name is Big Gains.
Big
So
gains. And who's he by?
he's an invincible, and
Okay.
believe that he's out of a full sibling to Trillions.
Okay. Gotcha.
So
Yes, I did see. I don't think I saw him. I don't think I saw you guys showing, but did see a bunch of pictures of him, and he is handsome.
he is. And you know what, my favorite part, again, because I just like horses, he's so nice to be around. Like, it's the
Yeah.
nicest baby ever. So I
Yeah.
like that part.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you mentioned how different they are, halter horses, than your performance horses. So tell us a little bit about how they're different and how the showing is even different.
Yeah, for me, I think the funniest thing is how they let them sleep. Like our horses were like, oh, it's time to ride this one. We go in. If it's laying down, we kick it and tell it to get up and like let's
Yep.
go get ridden. And
Yeah.
when the halter babies sleep, like nobody talks and like, let's let the babies sleep. And I'm like, is this really happening right now? Like, um,
Yeah.
so, but I get it. Like, and especially the more I'm around it, the more it makes sense, right? Like
Hmm.
they're like toddlers. I don't want to wake up a sleeping baby either. So, um, and really just, and again, like going back to John, I think that that's what I like. He knows those babies so well. He spends
Hmm.
so much time with
Hmm.
them. He took
Hmm.
two of them to Iowa and Fort Worth. And when you only take two, you spend, I mean, he's out there 16 hours a day, so he spends a ton of time with
Yeah.
those babies.
Yeah.
And I think for like those differences between the performance horses and the halter horses is it's
Hmm.
just there's I find them just so much more sensitive. Like one little thing can change so many things down the line, for the
Hmm.
halter baby. So I think it's just knowing them well enough to really be on top of that.
Hmm. Hmm. So, was there anything that you've learned through the process of getting to know halter horses that you've brought over to the performance side of things?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I find it interesting as far as like just the way that they take care of them, from the feeding to vet
Hmm.
work, everything like that. So I think there's a lot of things that um, can help both sides, right? So like
Sure.
there's
Sure.
things that I take home from there and I'm like, oh, hey, like I saw this and that worked really
Hmm.
well.
Hmm.
So I think, yeah, I think there's a lot of things that the halter side does, that the as far as like the husbandry of the horses, where they
Hmm.
really know them well enough, everybody wraps legs really well. I feel like those things sometimes lack on the performance side because, and I don't know if it's just that there's people get so many more, maybe they're just
Hmm.
not as careful with them. So I kind of
Hmm.
enjoy that about the halter side.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like we're hyper focused on a small
Yes,
number of things.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And uh, like almost to the point of being obsessive, but
Hmm.
then you see how that pays off and you're like, oh,
Hmm.
well, if I would do a little bit more of that, then I could get a little bit more of this result. So
Yeah.
it really
Yeah.
makes sense.
Well, and like you mentioned, the way that John took the mare with the baby to make
Hmm.
sure that he didn't sacrifice anything on the baby side of things and only
Right,
had a short amount of time before taking the baby to Iowa. There's a really short window of opportunity to find success or trouble, right?
right, right.
Of many forms, whether it's legs or a virus or who knows what.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah,
Well, and I
that's
think
true.
too, it's so different because, like, we're not doing anything with our weanlings at this point, right? So, like,
Okay.
Huntsy weanling, like, we're really not touching them. They're just turned out and they are what they are for another year
Hmm.
still. So I
Uh-huh.
think when you're doing as much as you guys do with these halter babies, like, you do have to be so much more careful.
Hmm.
And it does make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I've learned a lot from a lot of our guests as far as what people are doing with their babies because there's this delicate window of
Mhm.
showing them. How do you guys start your babies or start doing things with your babies when they're yearlings?
Yeah, and like so we really don't bring ours in till about this time. their yearling year. I mean, they get
Mhm.
handled enough and they get halter
Sure.
and that kind of thing,
Sure.
but they're not really doing anything. They're just being babies out there.
Yeah.
So, where these babies, by the time they're coming yearlings, they've been hauled all over and they've done all of these things. So it's just
Yeah.
really different.
Yeah, for sure. So how do you see Halter and performance coming together to shape the big picture of the horse industry? Any
Well,
synergy there?
yeah, and I think that there's a lot that each industry can learn and is wanting to learn
Hmm.
from each other. Like the way that you guys have your futurity structured in the fall. Um, I know that the performance horse side right now is really watching that and trying to learn a lot from it and take a lot of those things on to work on the performance side because
Hmm.
we don't have the type of money that you guys can go out there and win. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so and just how you structure things, having these own associations that kind of have their own governing bodies, their governing rules.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of things that the performance horses are watching the halter horses right now, to say like, hey, how are they getting that influx of money and how are they creating these programs that can sustain themselves year
Hmm.
over year and still be profitable, but give so much back to the exhibitors too.
Yeah. 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 That's a good point. Um, so shifting gears a little bit to family and being on the road so much, how has being a mom shaped the way you approach either running your business or, um, your time on the road and horse showing?
Well, I think probably the biggest thing is it just keeps things in perspective a little bit more. I think
Mm-hmm.
before we had kids, it's super easy to feel like this is everything because it feels
Mm-hmm.
like this is everything some days. Um, and I still like to be super focused, but at the same time, understand that at the end of the day, like we're going to go home and
Mm-hmm.
our kids aren't going to care like what trophy you won or what trophy you didn't win. Like, so understanding that this is only a part of life.
Yeah.
So again, coming back to balance and trying to keep that so that they also see that, there's more to life than this. Like our daughter is, she's ate up with this. This is all she wants to do all of the time. But it's important for her to also learn like, hey, let's go do some other activities so that just really making a well-rounded individual too.
Yeah. Yeah. That was my next question. Are either of your kids interested in the horses?
Yeah, so our daughter Charlie absolutely loves it. She wants all of the horses. That's the problem. Like she got to come to the Halter Million for a few days. She now
Oh,
thinks that she should have halter horses as well.
okay. I think
Um,
so too.
yeah, well, and I told John, I said, I think that it'd be super fun to get her something that's good and quiet, like she's little
Huh?
still,
Yeah.
that she could show it like the youth world would be really a fun experience for her, and I would love to do
Yeah.
that. And I know
Yeah.
that I could trust John to find her something that's going to take care of
Absolutely.
her and not hurt her. But our son, he's wide open, right? Like he he has no filter. He just and he's all sports. And
Mm-hmm.
not that he minds the horses, but he has no interest in it at all. So,
Yeah.
which is totally fine. Like whatever he wants to do, we want to
Yeah.
try to. I will say that's sometimes hard because I feel like it's easy for us to
Mm,
support her hobby, and her
right.
passion because it aligns with what we do. And we love getting to go and do his things as well, but it's a little bit harder because it's not at our job. So, um,
Sure.
that's always a little bit of a struggle, just trying to remember that he should have as many opportunities as she does, even though it's not in what we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That
he's
makes
here
sense.
at the Congress, so they're both here for the first week because she's going to show in the small fry. Um, and he likes to come to the Congress because he gets to see all of his little friends, and there's lots to do here. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So what does a typical day look like for you guys while you're at the Congress with your kids, with your whole
oh my gosh,
family?
it's pandemonium. Like, I don't know what we're thinking. um, so we have a really great nanny that helps us.
Huh?
Her name's Bianca. It's actually Aaron Moses's mom.
Oh,
She's
awesome.
great. She's great. We love her. So she just got out here this evening, and my mom came as well, because she will not miss Charlie showing. So um, It's just hard though, like with our schedule
Yeah.
here, like having to be up in the middle of the night. So we rent a camper, but I also got an Airbnb that the kids and my mom and Bianca will stay at so that
Hmm.
they can get
Hmm.
like a true night's sleep. Uh,
Yeah.
and Charlie will come and she'll stay here a couple nights with us, just depending on like her riding schedule as well. Um, but yeah, so our horses get in tomorrow morning. We have 12 Huntsy horses here, which 12 Huntsy horses is just a lot. um,
Absolutely.
so, we just kind of come into it at this point knowing that we're not going to get any sleep and that is going to be a hard couple weeks. And there must be some part of us that thrives on it though. So, um, but it'll be long days and, these first 5 or 6 days having the kids here too and getting to watch her show in
Hmm.
the small fry it's so nice. I mean, I'll be a nervous wreck because I always am, but then like right when she kind of finishes showing, then it turns into like our horses starting to show. So it
Hmm.
just kind of like
Hmm.
organically works pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what are your goals looking forward for not only the hot seat side of your business, but maybe even on the halter side?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as the Huntsy horses,
Uh-huh.
just to go and continue to go out there and put out a good product time after time
Uh-huh.
is really all we can try to do.
Hmm.
So excited about the Congress and the World Show. We have some really nice horses. So uh, super, super thankful for the clients behind them.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
as far as the halter horses, I mean, I we ended up selling big gains at the Halter
Okay.
Million. So
Okay.
I had been planning to show him at the World Show, but we sold him. So
Okay.
um, I'm super excited. Robin Clover and his family bought him, and John gets to keep him. So I feel like that's a win-win the whole way around.
Hmm. Hmm.
I know how hard John's worked on him, so
Hmm.
it's nice when he gets to continue to keep him. It was a
Sure.
little bittersweet, right? Because
Mm.
it was so much fun to show and I really enjoyed it. But, sometimes it's time. So I've told John I would like to buy another one in the spring. Maybe he won't ever call me again. I don't know. He might be over it
You'll
by the
find out.
yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, I just really enjoy doing the Iowa and the Fort Worth. It's kind of
Hmm.
fun. Um, it's just a fun kind of hobby to have. And so I hope we can do it again next year. And I know it'll be hard to beat this year. But
Hmm.
just go out and again, no different than the Huntsy horses, just consistently have a good
Hmm.
product that we put out there. And
Hmm.
um, I know John will always work harder than anybody else in the room, and we love that. So um, yeah, just looking forward to 2026, really.
Awesome. So, if there's one thing that you could change about the industry, or improve, I should say, because I think just from what you've said, you appreciate both sides of the pen, the Huntsy side, of course, and then the halter side, and enjoying that. What's something that you would improve or suggest for the industry, the halter industry in particular?
I think just helping people understand how to get into it, right? Like
Mm,
it feels a little bit hard to break into, even
okay.
being like within the industry, and just knowing like those avenues to go down, like
Hmm.
what that looks like, what the showing looks like, and just
Mm,
overcoming kind of the stigma of the halter horse industry. Sometimes I feel like is hard because there's
hmm.
so many great people in it, and once you're there, it's organically it all works really well together. But I think it's intimidating from the outside looking in and
Hmm.
trying to get new
Hmm.
people into it.
Hmm.
So that would probably
That's
be my biggest thing.
that's probably the first time that I've heard somebody say that in that way. You've affirmed several things like once you get in it, people are nice, it feels comfortable, but the getting into it part and how that feels a little bit intimidating. And I hadn't not only haven't heard that from somebody, not that it's off the wall, but hadn't necessarily considered that if somebody wants to enter the halter side of the industry, how do they actually get started
Yeah, yeah.
at a
And I
very
feel like
granular level?
right. And I feel super thankful that at least like we have some really
Hmm.
good contacts in it.
Hmm.
And
Sure.
again, like, and Ross has shown, he showed our one last year, he showed this one
Hmm.
this year, and he's
Hmm.
always been great for us to work with as well. And like, we
Hmm.
appreciate him. He's
Hmm.
always there, anything that we need. And so like, I know we have really good people on our team, and still sometimes
Hmm.
it's intimidating. So I
Sure.
just sometimes don't know how that translates to somebody that's
Hmm.
truly new to the industry. I can imagine
Hmm.
that that would be really hard.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, thank you for that input because that's part of the design of this platform is to help build the community because we're small. I
Mm.
like to say we're small but mighty,
Yeah,
but we are small, and if we don't make intentional steps to growing, that's a future that we don't prefer. So we definitely want to grow the industry, but yeah, that's something to think about on our side of things is how does a person enter, um, whether it's a budget decision or connections that people don't have. Yeah, it's good. Thank you
yeah,
for being willing to share that, especially because you have a lot of horse industry experience and have enjoyed the performance and the halter. So super
yeah.
helpful. Thank you. So, if you want to watch what's happening with Miller Quarter Horses at the Congress and the World Show, how can we find you online?
Yeah, so Miller Quarter Horses on Facebook. We
Okay.
have an Instagram as well.
Okay.
We have a great social media girl because I'm awful at it because I hate to put up stuff. It feels so braggy, and I don't know, it just
Yeah.
but she does a really good job with it. I think we even have a TikTok. I'd have to check on that.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure Miller Quarter Horses, yeah. So
Yeah.
look it up. She does some really cool stuff for us.
Awesome. And then the rest of your show season, is that Congress and World Show, and that's it for you guys this year? Anything else
Oh,
happening?
well, I mean, we go to the Golden, the Gulf Coast then in
Okay.
December, but you know
Okay.
what? We like to say that after the World Show, we're done. I mean, it's really only like 3 weeks, but it feels good still to be done for a little while.
Yeah. Take a break.
Yeah.
You guys have worked really hard this year. So thank you so much. Congratulations on your fun futurity season with
Thank
Herf.
you. Thank you.
And best of luck to his new owners. And just thanks for taking the time to share your perspective on how there's crossover, there's things to admire about what we do on the halter side, there's things for us to learn on the halter side. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It was super fun. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet.